Good morning, children. We'll continue with magnetism, unit 3 of class 12 syllabus, which we started last time. And in the class today, we'll study magnetic effect of current. We'll study a very important law, that is Bohr-Savart law, and its two applications. So let's begin the day with magnetic effect of current. What is magnetic effect of current? Magnetic effect of current is the production of magnetic field, the creation of magnetic field around conductors only when the current passes through the conductors. This is the state conductor. It creates magnetic field around itself. You have studied so many examples last time in the class. This is the state conductor. It has magnetic field around itself. This is a circular current carrying coil. This is solenoid and this is toroid. So all these, when carry current, they create magnetic field around themselves. And this is what is magnetic effect of current, magnetic field due to current. Well, there was a very famous experiment which you studied in class 10, which is known as Oersted experiment, which illustrates this effect. And what is there in this experiment? We have a state conductor which is aligned along north-south direction, magnetic north-south, and there is a compass needle which is kept close to it. The needle of the compass box always align itself in magnetic north-south direction. So this needle is along the direction of the conductor. This conductor is connected across battery and key. So as long this key is open, the needle is along this conductor. But the moment we close the key, there is magnetic field created all around conductor, and because of that magnetic field, this needle deflects. So this needle, compass needle, deflects only when current passes through the coil. Shows that it is current carrying conductor which creates magnetic field around themselves. Well, if we change the direction of current, needle deflects in other direction. You can place needle anywhere, above, below, left or right, anywhere. But it deflects only when the key is closed or when current passes through the state conductor. So this is what is magnetic effect of current. Now, we have another very important law, Bohr-Savart law. So far, we know what is the direction of magnetic field due to various shape of conductors. And for that, we recapitulated two laws. Number one law was Fleming's right hand thumb rule. And the second law was Fleming's right hand palm rule. So, we are in position to find out the direction of magnetic field due to various shapes of current carrying conductors. But what is the value of magnetic field? We do not know. And for that purpose, we have Bohr-Savart law. So the purpose of Bohr-Savart law is to find out magnetic field due to any shape of current carrying conductor. Well, what is Bohr-Savart law? Let us see. This is a very small current carrying element dl. It is so small so that it tends to 0. And at a distance r from it, we have this point P. This r vector is in fact position vector of point P. So because of this current carrying element, which is straight and very small, it is a vector quantity. The position vector of point P, it is a vector quantity, and angle between these two vectors is what? Theta. So what is magnetic field here? This magnetic field here is also going to be very small. So this current carrying element is infinitely small. Therefore the magnetic field is also going to be very small. When I is the current passing through this infinitely small length of conductor. What is this dotted line? This dotted line is the unknown shape of conductor this very small conductor is a part of. So magnetic field, because of this very small current carrying element at a distance r from it, at an angle theta from it, is dependent upon current. It depends upon this angle theta. It depends upon this position vector r, and of course it depends upon dl, the length of the element. So the four factors are related with the value of magnetic field like this. Magnetic field here is directly proportional to current passing through the state conductor. Magnetic field is directly proportional to length of this conductor dl. Magnetic field is directly proportional to sine theta. Theta is angle between dl and r. This is also called as obliquity factor. And magnetic field at this point is inversely proportional to square of distance between dl and p, that is inverse square law. If we club all these factors, what do we get? dp is directly proportional to I dl sin theta and inversely proportional to what? R square. And if we remove sign of proportionality, we get a constant. That constant is mu naught upon 4 pi and then I dl sin theta upon R square. This is the magnitude of magnetic field due to Boas-Savart law. This is the value of magnetic field due to Boas-Savart law, and this value of magnetic field is because of a very small current carrying element dl at an angle theta and at a distance r from it. So at an angle theta at a distance r from dl current carrying element is this. This is the value of magnetic field, magnitude only. Well, if we write it in vector form, well, in vector form, we put a vector sign overhead of this dB, and then right hand side, mu naught upon 4 pi remains same. I is a scalar quantity, it cannot participate in cross product. So the next term is dl cross r upon r cube. So in vector form, we write Boas-Savart law as mu naught upon 4 pi I dl cross r upon r cube. Why this I is not the product of cross product? Because it is a scalar quantity. What is dl cross r? dl cross r is going to be r into dl into sin theta. And what is this n cap? N cap is the unit vector perpendicular to both dl as well as r. So this magnitude, this vector form not only gives us the magnitude, which we know already, it also gives us the direction. And what is directional magnetic field? Directional magnetic field is perpendicular to both dl as well as r. It is perpendicular to the plane containing dl and r. But see, we are not going to find out the directional magnetic field using this cross product. We are going to find out magnetic field by the usual laws which we have already understood. Fleming right hand thumb rule or Fleming right hand palm rule. The value of constant mu naught upon 4 pi is 10 to the power minus 7 in SI unit. Now let us switch over to the application of Boas-Savart law. Children, when we apply Boas-Savart law to find out magnetic field due to any shape of conductor, what do? We divide the whole conductor into infinitesimally small part of length dl each, and due to one arbitrary conductor of length dl, we first of all find out magnetic field at the point of interest. So what do? We create condition conducive for Boas-Savart law before we apply it. So the very first application is we are going to find out magnetic field due to straight current carrying conductor at an axial point. That is, this is the straight conductor and we wish to find out magnetic field at any point where over its axis. This is the axis of the wire, and at this point we want to find out magnetic field. So what do? We divide this whole wire into infinite number of conductors of length dl each. So this is, say, one of the arbitrary current carrying element of length dl, and if we join this current carrying element with the point of interest, we get d orbital like this. So what is magnetic field due to Boas-Savart law? Mu naught I dl sin theta upon 4 pi r square. But what is angle between dr and dl? The angle between dr and dl. This is dl along conductor and this is what? R. So angle between dl and r is what? 0. That is theta is 0. The sine 0 is what? 0. Therefore magnetic field due to this arbitrary current carrying element here is what? 0. And if we integrate it for the whole conductor, for all these segments, the total remains 0. As many times you add 0, it always remains 0. So the magnetic field over the axis of straight current carrying conductor is always 0. Well, the second application is magnetic field due to straight current carrying conductor at a non-axial point. So this is a straight current carrying conductor. Now we are going to find out magnetic field here. So as usual, we divide this whole conductor into infinite number of current carrying elements of length dl each, and of these infinite number of current carrying elements of infinitesimally small length dl, let us take an arbitrary current carrying element dl. We join this with point P, we get what? We get r. An angle between this position vector and dl is what? Angle theta. Therefore magnetic field because of this very small current carrying element is going to be what? Mu naught I dl sin theta upon 4 pi r square. Well, what is total magnetic field at this point P? Now we should integrate it. But we are not in position to integrate it right now. Why? Because there are three variables. We can integrate any function only when there is one variable. So as long there is a single variable, we can integrate the function. But see, in this function there are three variables. As you move from one end to other end, see GL of course is a variable. The other variable is what? This R. For this extreme current carrying element, this R is maximum value, and this R goes on decreasing. For this point, this R is a constant, that is perpendicular bisector, the smallest, the shortest. And as you move above, for all these elements, R again starts increasing. So R from here to here what? First decreases, and then from here to here R increases. What about this angle theta? This angle theta is small, but as you move from here to here, the angle theta increases, and this angle theta becomes what? 90, as this is perpendicular drawn over the wire. This is shortest separation, and beyond this, the angle becomes what? More than 90 degrees. So in this expression, dl is a variable, theta is a variable, r is a variable. There are three variables, therefore we cannot integrate it. So what is next? We are supposed to eliminate the variables and bring them down to 1. And for that, what we are doing? Look at this triangle. This is this triangle. In this triangle, can we find out value of sin theta? Yes, we can. Sin theta is what? Perpendicular upon hypotenuse, A upon R. Sin theta is A upon R. And if we solve it, what do we get? R is equal to A upon sin theta, or R square is equal to A square upon sin square theta, or R square is equal to A square cosec square theta. This is one relation, with the help of which we are going to eliminate the variables and reduce them to 1. The other variable is going to be eliminated again. Again, look at this triangle. In this triangle, what is cot theta? Cot theta. Tan theta is perpendicular upon base. Cot theta is base upon perpendicular. What is base? L. What is perpendicular? A. So cot theta is base upon perpendicular. L upon A. Cot theta is L upon A. This L is lower side of this normal drawn. Therefore, we write it as minus L. Otherwise, there is no other significance of minus L. And this minus L is also to eliminate a negative sign, which is going to be there very shortly. See, cot theta is minus L upon A. That means minus L is equal to A cot theta. Differentiate both sides, we get minus GL is equal to minus A cosec square theta. So this minus cancels out. So GL is equal to what? A cosec square theta d theta. Now let us substitute 2 and 3 in 1. If we substitute these two equations here, well, this is the value of DL, this is the value of R square, and you can see that A cancels out, cosec square theta cancels out, and what are we left with? We are left with dV is equal to mu naught I sin theta d theta upon 4 pi A. Now, since in this expression there is just one variable, in this expression just one variable, that is theta. So we are going to integrate it for theta varying from theta 1 to theta 2. If we vary theta from theta 1 to theta 2, we are able to cover all segments. So net metric field at point P is going to be integration of this from theta is equal to theta 1 to theta 2. Integration of sin theta d theta is minus cos theta. We solve the limit, we get the value as what? Mu naught I upon 4 pi A. This is cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2. So this is the expression of magnetic field due to state carrying conductor at a point very close to it. This formula, if you remember, you have to know what are these angles theta 1 and theta 2. Theta 1 is this angle and theta 2 is this obtuse angle. Now, the same formula can also be rewritten in terms of these angles alpha and beta. This is angle theta 1, this is angle theta 2, this is shortest separation A, this is current I. We know this formula, but we are going to rewrite this formula in terms of alpha and beta. This angle happens to be alpha. What is alpha? Alpha is angle between this normal drawn onto the conductor and the line joining the end. Beta is angle between the normal drawn onto the wire and the line joining point P and the end of the wire. So alpha and beta are these angles. What is theta 2? Theta 2 is this angle plus this. Exterior angle is equal to sum of interior opposite angle. So the theta 2 is what? 90 plus beta. Cos theta 2 is cos of 90 plus beta, and cos of 90 plus beta is what? Minus sin beta. Similarly here, this is theta 1, this is alpha, this is 90. So what is theta 1? Theta 1 is 90 minus alpha, and cos of 90 minus alpha is what? Sin alpha. And if we substitute for cos theta 2 minus sin beta and for cos theta 1 sin alpha, we get the formula like this. That is mu naught I upon 4 pi A sin of alpha plus sin beta. There is a particular case, and that is a standard case. Well, if this state carrying conductor happens to be long in state, so if the wire is long in state, then what happens? The length of the wire extends up to infinity over both sides, and this is point P. This A is the shortest separation of point P from the wire, which is a constant, and I is the current passing through this straight conductor. So if this wire is long in straight, its length extends up to infinity both sides. In that case, what is alpha beta? This alpha, had the wire been up to this point, this alpha would have been this angle. Had the wire been up to this point, up to this alpha would have been this angle. Had the wire been up to this length, this alpha would have been this angle. See, the alpha is increasing, but if the wire moves up to infinity, this alpha would increase to what? 90 degrees. Same way, if the wire is up to this length, this is angle beta, and if the wire is up to this length, this angle is beta. See, the beta is increasing, and if the wire extends up to infinity, then this angle beta would increase to what? 90 degree. So alpha and beta are 90 degree in case the wire is long and straight. In terms of theta 1 and theta 2, this theta 1 would be 0 and theta 2 would be 180 if the wire is long and straight. So substitute these values here. Sin 90 plus sin 90 is what? 1 plus 1 is 2. And this 2 cancels out with this 4. We get mu naught I upon 2 pi a. So this is the value of magnetic field due to a long and straight current carrying conductor. The other uses of Bose-Savartla will take up in the next class. So for the time being, it's all for the day. Thank you very much. God bless you all.